Alright guys, we're doing it. The countdown's been started. Game number 2. Quantic.HyuN versus Rox.Kis. The map is going to be... Oh, the player colors switched again. Boom, 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 boom. No problemo for Nathan. Alright. It's going to be on Accolon Wastes. I always mix this up between being flats or wastes. But spawning in the bottom right position as our red Protoss player went for the early Oracle play. Was not so successful. Can he take back in game number 2? That is going to be for Team Rox.Kis, Titan. And spawning in the top left position as our blue Zerg player when Rox.Kis went to Swarmhost. The Swarmhost play was actually really nice out of this guy. Give it up for Quantic Gaming's HyuN. So, I think, based on the way that the last game played out, I don't think we'll actually see much anything different, really. HyuN could try to go a little bit more aggressive with the early lead that he has, but I'm not so sure that any feature of this map makes this kind of more likely. I know that the GSL version of this map has a supply depot here, a neutral one, to aid in building a wall. But I'm not sure that HyuN is the kind of player that would really abuse that, or try to abuse it at least. You only have so many options when it comes to doing this sort of thing. So we're going to have to see what he has in store, but I think we're going to see another spawning pool of 15 supply. He knows that Titan opened with a Forge for a Nexus, so it would be a little bit risky for HyuN to try to sneak in a 15 hatch. And there we go. That spawning pool is going to go down. Titan... I think we might see the same kind of style again, honestly. I don't rightly know that either one of these players did something that was so wrong that a repeat in strategy wouldn't fit. Titan is going to... he had the money. It looked like he was going to go for that Nexus, but he will open with a Forge at 16 supply, so it's not terrible. But HyuN's getting ready to take that hatchery. Ooh, Titan barely misses the block, so... HyuN's going to get that hatchery pretty early on. That's a really nice catch for HyuN, especially since Titan had that probe position. He was headed there, but Titan's going to get his Nexus up now. He's not going to try to do anything, force anything like a cannon rush on the natural expansion or anything of that sort. So, looking at what we basically have right now is very, very standard openers for ZvP. I have to say, I would like, based on what happened in the previous game, for there to be some Vipers thrown in, faster Hive maybe. Roach Hydralisk with Viper has been very, very strong in army compositions I've seen in other games casted. You basically use the Vipers to pull all the units back into the Roach Hydralisk so that they can't get any range on you with the Colossus. But this drone's gonna try to get fast third base. The probe trying to block it, but there is a Zergling out, so it won't be able to do anything about that. And this probe will most likely die before it can get home. And there's the third hatchery for HyuN. Titan getting his gateway up now, looking very standard. He has his cannon pretty early, so he's not under any kind of threat from HyuN. HyuN sees this with his Overlord, so he knows pretty much what's going on. Actually, let's see if he spotted the Nexus, but knowing that the cannon was up this fast, he knows, okay, well, it wasn't a really super greedy play. Otherwise, the Forge and the gateway are timed together, so we'll have to see what's up. Gateway complete. Cybernetics core will start, and we have a gas being taken for HyuN in his natural base. This is interesting. If he's only going to take one gas, I'm not... he could be just going for Zergling speed and possibly do a little bit of harass scouting with some Zerglings. I don't think there's any builds that really work off of 3 base with 1 gas, except for Speedlings, and that's only to get speed. You can't really make roaches off 1 gas when you're on 3 bases. It really, really hinders the amount that you can make based on how much larva you have. So this Zealot for Titan is going to begin working away at the rocks. It's going to take him quite a while to get through. And now that the Cybernetics core is complete, we're going to find out what Titan wants to do. He didn't have this super fast third gas like in the previous game, so he could go Robotics Facility. He could go for a Gateway timing. He doesn't have... Okay, there we go. +1 attack now just starting. So he can go for an early aggressive timing if he wants, but... HyuN getting that gas is going to open up a couple of options for him defensively, namely speed, which is now going to start at that spawning pool. So HyuN playing this about as carefully as he needs to. I have to say, not terrible at all. Stalker Zealot eating away at the rocks. Sentry being made. No tech choice yet for Titan, though, which I find interesting. It looks like he wants to go for a very fast third base, and that's exactly what he's going to do. His probe is positioned. He has minerals there, so he will delay his tech to get this up. And HyuN actually got a pretty late. His lair is actually really late. He's going to take his gas at his third base now after starting speed, so he should be able to get away with this. The Zerglings are actually going to scout this for HyuN. He goes up, sees the pylon and the Nexus with his Overlord as well, so he knows what's up. He's going to make some Zerglings, but Zergling speed is not complete yet, so he can't run in. Oh man, it's so close though, because by the time Zergling speed's complete, the rocks will be down and Titan's going to be all right to actually defend this. The Zerglings are now going to try to head over there, but he's going to wall that off immediately with 2 gateways. So HyuN will not be able to immediately break in, and by the time that he could, the rocks should be gone. So Titan's going to be all right for defending this. We have a lot of drones, though, for HyuN. He's moved himself up to about 60 right now. He has a couple more on the way. He's got his double evolution chamber complete. And we should see some upgrades very soon out of HyuN. These Zerglings do break through one of the gateways. He's going to get in. They do have that speed upgrade, so he's going to run into the main base, try to scout any kind of tech, and maybe kill some probes. He's going to move into that mineral line. The probes are going to try to get a surround on them, but in the meantime, we have the robotics facility is the choice of tech for Titan. I think going for a Stargate at this point in the game would be too greedy off 3 bases, simply because you would just die to any kind of Hydralisk play. Your robotics facility would end up being so late that there'd be no way you could possibly hold any kind of 2-3 base pressure from Zerg. But Robo facility's done. Should see a Robo Bay, and the lair's only now just starting for HyuN, so he's not going to be going for really fast Hydra Roach like he did in the last game, but he is looking to eventually do that. There's actually no Roach Horn yet. He's getting +1 ranged weapons though, so he will be building towards that army composition once again. Probe will go down, and the cool thing is that actually builds upgrades to the locusts that come out of the swarm host. So he's really playing, making the best of the situation. The Mothership cores are going to go out and do a little bit of poking, it seems. And we have double Stargate thrown down by Titan, so this is interesting. Now, he did have 2 Stargates in the last game. He didn't really make many Stargate units, though. Not up until the very end when the Tempests were too late to save the day. So maybe he's going to start production earlier. We could see him go for some Void Ray timings. And I like that he's trying to use this Mothership core for a bit of harass. But if he uses a Time Warp on the mineral line, it's going to be very hard for him to actually get away. And it looks like that's really all he could do. There we go. He's going to Time Warp the minerals and the gas. The drones actually, you see their movement speed much slower. But he actually trades his Mothership core for that. I'm not sure if that's worth it. That's 100 gas lost for mining time lost. The minerals are still there, of course, for HyuN to get. They're just going to be slightly delayed by the Time Warp. But we have Zerglings we need to work away at these rocks between the 4th base. Spire starting for HyuN, so he's going to be able to get Corruptors out to deal with the Colossus. So this is pretty standard play. The Fleet Beacon coming up a little bit earlier than in the previous match. I like this. He's opening up with a couple of Phoenix, now going to move up to 4, and he's going to build much more of an air army. We have that Protoss air weapons level 1 being researched, and HyuN's going to move up to 5 bases now, so he's going to be a really, really big macro machine. This Overseer is going to spot everything. Not going to be able to get a Contaminate off like in the previous game, but how many gateways does he actually have? He's been very, very low on his gateway count the entire game. He's actually only now moving up past 3 gateways at the 12-minute mark. So his gateway army size very, very low at the moment. So many things on the production tab for HyuN, getting that Hydralisk movement upgrade. These Phoenix are going to move up across the field now, so they're going to be getting to put on a bit of pressure. We had this Observer that sees the Spire, though, and also sees the 2nd Spire on the way, but no Hive just yet for HyuN, so this is going to be interesting. He's most likely just going to go for the double upgrades on these, but we need to see an Infestation Pit soon. He's all his Overlords on top of his Spore Crawlers, which is also interesting to see. I guess defensively. Sometimes you might see someone put Overlords over Spires to try to hide them, make them not so visible. I don't know, but there's a lot of Phoenix out, and we have this Overlord actually trying to dump on the 4th base of Titan. It would really suck if he had to cancel it, then he wouldn't be able to rebuild it. But the creep will be able to go away. We have Hydralisks, though, moving out towards the natural expansion of Titan. Might try to put a bit of pressure on. In the meantime, we have the range upgrade for the Phoenix about to complete. Force Field pinches off 2 Hydralisks. Nice catch. That's about 100 gas, so definitely worth it. And we have An Infestation Pit finally going. So HyuN is going to be able to move into Hive Tech. We're going to be able to move towards Vipers plus the upgrades. But this air army is going to look pretty scary from Titan. And I like that he's not just making Phoenix. He's making Phoenix and Colossus. So he's going to be able to have an army composition that complements itself. And I don't think warping in these Zealots is a good idea. He just lost all of those. He's going to try to bring these Phoenix up. And I think Titan is overestimating his units a little bit. He's losing quite a bit. He picked up these Hydralisks, but the Phoenix cost much more. And he's not going to be able to deny the hatchery either. So it wasn't the greatest catch in the history of baseball, but he did go for it. And we have a bunch of corruptors now. So this is that Hydralisk corruptor. There's not really any roaches at all, actually. Look at the units tab. It's just Hydra Corruptor. So he hasn't really made too many units. He has 90 drones, though, so his economy is off the wall. Most likely just going to start throwing away units once he gets all of these bases fully set up. Once he gets his upgrades, he gets his Hive, he could start getting out those Vipers. But holding off the harass from Titan, he's been able to do fairly well. 4 Zealots going to move in towards that 5th base, the 6th base, though. And these Hydralisks will be able to pick it off, so I'm not sure. This is a very passive game we have here. But it looks like Titan doesn't want to overextend himself the way he did the last game when he pushed out and lost to all of those swarm hosts that were outside of his 3rd base. So this is progressing at a snail's pace, but we have the Hive almost complete for HyuN. He has pretty much complete map dominance, I have to say. He has all the bases he wants. His creep is spread out to the center. It could be a little bit further, but it's not a huge deal. The Phoenix are going to harass, being able to use their range to hit from farther away from the Spore Crawlers. But it's not. He's not going to be able to do anything significant. There's still plenty of Overlords on the field. And now this Hydra Corruptor army is going to step up. And there's no roaches to actually tank damage, so he's relying on these Corruptors to kill the Colossus because Hydralisks absolutely melt to them. Now he's going to step up. Pushing him to the natural could be really scary if he gets flanked. Blink only now just starting for Titan, though, so catching units is going to be difficult. He's going to start his 3-3 upgrades. These Phoenix have been just roaming around the map all game long. I mean, might as well start picking up Zerglings, honestly. Try to spend that energy as much as they can. But +2 attacks have finished for Titan, so you might be looking to move out a little bit here. It's gonna be scary. This army's actually gonna get caught. The Corruptors get a bunch of free shots off, take out a lot of these units. He needs to focus down the Colossus with his Corruptors. He's killing the Void Rays, but the Colossi just melting these Hydralisks, all gone in a heartbeat. 3 Colossi, so powerful versus ground units, and there's still barely a couple Roaches left, but there'll be plenty of Stalkers to mop this up. And I have to say, this fight, really good trade for Titan. He will lose all of his Colossi, though, but man, these Hydralisks did a ton of damage to his forces. I have to say, that was... you really need to bring those Phoenix into the fight a little bit sooner. HyuN can replace all of this very, very quickly. He has quite a bit of a mineral bank. He's got, oh my goodness, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bases. This is a very scary position to be in as a Protoss player looking at the Zerg. You're at 4 bases versus 7. You know the Zerg has a lot of options. He's going to pick off the 7th base, though. There were a couple of drones here, but I think at this point, HyuN might actually want to lose some of his workers just because he had so many earlier. Oh, these Hydralisks get caught out of position, though. The Zerglings are going to run up. HyuN made a ton of them to try to stop these Stalkers from getting away. Blink is not yet done, so if he gets surrounded, he will not be able to get away. And it looks like that is exactly what's going to happen. These Stalkers not going to be able to get out of here. Blink will be finished very soon, but will it be in time? Sorry, I just sneezed. He's going to get him. The Zerglings are going to surround. He needs to blink out of there. He already blinked to get away from the mineral patches, and HyuN's going to eat up all of these units. Really nice catch. That's pretty much the entire army for Titan. All he has left are a couple of Void Rays and Colossi that he's been building back at home. HyuN looking very scary now. He's getting his Greater Spire up. He's getting his +3 flyer attacks. He's really been on top of his upgrades this game. His +3/3 for range is going to be done soon. He has Roach Burrow, Roach Speed, everything. We didn't even see Roaches earlier on, but he got all the upgrades for them anyway. This Observer, though, it sees everything, so Titan has to be very careful about what he does next because he's in a very awkward position, and it looks like HyuN's just going to try to push in towards the 3rd base. Zerglings running up to actually tanking the Colossi shots for the Hydra Roach. And the Corruptors are going to move in. The Void Rays are going to activate that Prismatic Alignment to try to kill the Corruptors. If the Corruptors don't get the Colossi, this is going to be a very, very difficult push for him to actually continue with. But 1 Colossi does fall, and it looks like the other Colossi will barely survive. So really nice hold here by Titan. He's been behind quite a bit. I think he has just lost a ton more probes, but I have to say he didn't lose anywhere near as much as he could have, although he is he's ahead in supply, but he did lose quite a bit. And HyuN has a lot more prepared to actually be able to build units up to rejuvenate his army supply, as it were. So a single Void Ray is going to move out across the map now towards that bottom left base. We have additional Hydralisks, Corruptors being built, and I think right now what Titan needs to do is just turtle up. Throwing away this Void Ray isn't going to do him really any good. The Templar Archives is on the way. He needs to turtle up, get Archons, get that Tempest composition out, if there's even enough minerals left for him to do so. And he just needs to build up a really big, scary Toss army that can punch through all of this, because there is so much now for HyuN, and it looks like he's only getting ready to go out for another wave of aggression versus Titan. And this is becoming very scary. He's at almost a 200 supply versus 150 supply, and He has Roach Hydra Corruptor, so this is scary. Some Zealot's going to go to that 7th base, though, that wasn't actually finished off earlier, and Titan, a little bit of indecisiveness, decides, okay, I'm going to leave one Zealot there. I don't want to lose too many minerals to kill this base, and HyuN's going to move up to defend this. Maybe see if the Zealot is still there, but the Zealot's, yeah, it gets killed by the Broodlings, so this is looking a little bit like just a really like endless wave. Kind of reminds me of the final Protoss mission in the campaign Wings of Liberty, just trying to hold off endless waves. And this is kind of what HyuN's been doing, sending a lot of units after a lot of units. But there's been so many Colossi to deal with these. It's been working out pretty well, holding out defensively. The Void Rays really doing a good job against these Corruptors. Prismatic alignment is so strong, the Corruptor count dwindles very quickly. There's barely any Hydra Roach left. To clean up the Colossi after all of this. If he micros this back, he should be able to kill the majority of these forces, but he's going to lose one of the Colossus. Loses quite a few Stalkers. Manages to save that Colossi, though, and he will clean up another army of HyuN's. And I think this is what Titan needs to do. He needs to preserve his expensive units. Some Roach is going to run into the natural burrow. I actually got a couple of Zerglings into the main base. These probes don't really need to be here anymore, so the Zerglings are going to burrow and hide themselves. And HyuN actually denies a 5th base, but HyuN still has 6 bases. He has a ton of drones. He has plenty of larvae, actually, I think. Yeah, 23, so you can make a lot of units very quickly. These Roaches moving around. I don't think trying to move them out with the burrow is going to be smart, though. There's a photon cannon there. Roaches, what are you doing? Gonna get killed. +3 shields, excuse me, level 2 shields being researched. Interestingly enough, before level 2 armor, so he's really focusing on having the shields up for these Archons and these Void Rays. I have to say, these Void Rays are doing a lot better than I thought they would. I think HyuN's going to need some Vipers, in all honesty, to be able to bring this back, because these Void Rays do so much damage. He needs to pull the Colossi out of the army. He needs to pull the Colossus away, or pull the Void Rays away. Allow the Hydralisks to get in enough damage to actually be able to kill all of these players. Excuse me, to actually be able to kill all of these Colossi. So it's looking very difficult for HyuN, honestly. He's having a hard time. I wouldn't say that he's having a hard time macroing, but he's having a hard time actually engaging Titan. He's engaging Titan on his own terms. He's slowly picking up these bases. He's trying to build up this Void Ray count, and Titan's supply has slowly been increasing, whereas HyuN's has only been rising up, dropping off, rising up, and then dropping off yet again. So we're going to have to see if he can make anything different happen. He looks like he's going to go in for another push, but the Colossus count is high enough. And I like this. He's going to force Titan to engage into him by attacking the natural expansion. He needs to split the Corruptors, though. The Archons getting a sick amount of splash damage, and the Corruptors are going to die almost instantly again to this Void Ray force. There's so much damage available for Titan. I don't think HyuN is going to be able to stop this with a conventional army. This is, oh my goodness, he went straight into the Archon splash, and man, Titan now is looking to be aggressive. He has a lot, and he looks like he's going to try to shut down one of HyuN's bases. This is a very, very scary force, and I honestly have to, with the way that these Void Rays work now, countering the Corruptors and being able to kill Hydralisks pretty quickly, HyuN needs to mix things up. He's making more Roaches, and he's making more Hydralisks, more Corruptors, but this isn't working for him. With the more Void Rays get on the field, the less these Corruptors are going to become efficient. And HyuN says TT, he's like very strong. He doesn't quite understand how he's supposed to deal with this force. Titan says, yeah, TT. Nice little smiley face. Broodlords are coming out of the field, but in all honesty, I don't think HyuN's running out of gas. He's got plenty left to mine, but he doesn't have enough at the moment to really put out too many of them. But once he engages, I think the Void Rays could just kill all the Corruptors and then the Broodlords. And this has kind of been the story of this game. He's just slowly taking his bases, winning the engagements little by little, and just gradually building himself up to the point where he's just going to completely smash him. I don't know. I don't think Broodlords are the answer. Maybe a bunch of Ultralisks and Mass Corruptor. I don't know. I still think Vipers. I still think the Roach Hydralisk Viper composition works better versus this because you can pull out individual units into your army and you can get your army into a concave prepared to deal with this kind of army. But we'll have to see if HyuN's just going to keep bashing his head against the wall or if he's going to be able to make something happen. Titan moving some of his units out now. HyuN tries to take the tower. Zealot will pick that off. And, well, there's quite a number of forces here for HyuN, but is it going to... I don't know. I'm just not sure that this counters that. The Colossi are just so strong. He needs to start engaging with the Broodlords and just try to build up a nice number of Broodlings to actually deal with that, but... the Stalkers can blink forward, and here we go. Prismatic Alignment activates on the Void Rays. There's a lot more Corruptors than in previous fights, but they are all going to die. Man, these Void Rays are so strong. Wow. The Broodlords, of course, not going to be able to do anything to these Void Rays, and that's going to be it for this fight. Titan is going to be able to take another decisive fight. However, the Zerglings are going to run in and shut down this 5th base of Titan. It actually looks like he's not going to be able to kill it, so nice save by Titan. Oh my goodness, the Nexus barely goes down, though. Wow, that was... Man, I even second-guessed myself on that one. That was a really, really close one. But I'm not sure that's going to be enough for HyuN. He needs to be able to build up enough units to kill this now. He's done a bit of economic damage, sure. He's done some army damage, sure. But he needs to be able to build up enough units to kill this. And there we have 9 Infestors being produced. I think this is a unit that will be able to help him deal with this army composition. He will be able to get fungal growth on the stacked air units, possibly Neural Parasite. The Colossi, the Void Rays, and I think this is kind of what he needs to do. There's a lot of Archons moving in now, a lot of High Templars, so going forward, just Corruptors isn't going to cut it anymore. Colossus moving out across the field now. It's looking like... I don't know. It's looking like Titan was really behind. I honestly thought Titan was in an unwinnable position earlier on, but... HyuN's just given up so many poor engagements against this army composition. I think Titan kind of realized after game number 1, all right, he's got to make a bunch of Void Rays because the Void Rays would also shut down Swarm Host. So it's exactly what he needs, in all honesty. The Observer sees that HyuN's trying to get that 7th base up, and honestly, HyuN's had literally the entire left side of the map for the majority of this game. He needs to do something. He's actually eating up all of the resources. A lot of these patches are running low, so he needs to be very, very careful what he does. We have fresh patches here for the Protoss player. This base, I'm not too sure that he's going to be able to hold on to this for long. Zealots being sent over to shut it down, and I'm also curious why there's no charge for Titan. Zergling run by gets shut down. He's got a lot of queens here transfused. There's a good number of Corruptors. And there's some Tempest being built, though, for Titan. So he's getting ready to move into the ultra late game. Build up a Turtley Ball. Use these to force engagements. These Zealots are going to shut down this base. HyuN's going to send everything to try to stop this. The Zergling run by to the 5th of Titan will get shut down by Zealots. And it looks like a couple Stalkers are going to run up here and try to catch these units. One Fungal goes down. Great feedbacks. And oh no, the Corruptors are moving in, but they're getting hit by the Colossus again. There's a hit with 3 hit point Colossus. He needs to focus that down. It will go down. No Parasite hits the Colossi, though. Being used to defend itself a little bit, but I just don't know if this is enough. The Fungals do hit the Void Rays, but there's no more Infestors. There's no more Fungals available. He has one with barely not enough energy, but it looks like he's finally going to break through and kill this army of Void Rays. This is exactly the engagement that HyuN needed. The Queens actually turn out to be the playmakers this game with those transfuses and their ranged attack. They have 7 range on the ground, so really great. Really great engagement from HyuN. That was exactly what he needed to win this game. If he can shut down this 5th base, I think he will be able to do so, but there's a lot more units being put out by Titan. The thing is, Titan's army was very cost effective. It killed several waves of HyuN's army, sure, but that army for Titan takes decades to build. We were 33 minutes into the game for him to get that kind of force, and now that it's gone, it's looking very scary. These 2 Zerglings have just been chilling here all game. No kills, just like, sup. Looks like that 5th base is going to finally be put under pressure. I think HyuN might just try to kill the main army again, though, which I think wouldn't be a bad idea. He's going to run these Zerglings up, trying to catch this Colossus. There's no more Archons, no more Void Rays to really shut down these Corruptors from getting him. And I think this is going to be it for Titan. The March of the Penguins, the Queens are in the 3rd. The Queens are in the 4th. And the Probes left free. And there's nothing that Titan can do to stop this now. GG goes down. HyuN, oh my goodness. You know, almost had to be an amazing comeback in game number 2. Wow, that was something else. That was really ridiculous. That was a very ridiculous fight. Wow, I actually can't believe HyuN won that. I thought Titan's army, when he got that many Void Rays, and kept killing everything that HyuN had, I'm just like, wow. That was scary. Once all the infestors were dead, I'm like, can he actually do this anymore because he doesn't have fungals? But the Queen DPS with +3 attack is actually pretty solid. So really great game number 2. Wow. I don't have much else to say, but all right. Yeah, I'm not really doing too many breaks, but just a reminder, guys, this is brought to you by SC2TV RU. And yeah, that was game number 2 in a best of 9. Heart of the Swarm show match between Quantic.HyuN and Rox.Kis Titan. So just stay tuned and we'll get into the next game as soon as it's ready.